Public comment is next on items that are not on the agenda. Do we have any speaker cards?
Yes. John Borrellier.
John
Borrellier.
Was he he's a teacher?
Hi, my name is John Barrelier. I was a teacher in this district for about 26 years. About my 10th year of teaching, I came across an extraordinary human being. But let me go back to my history with my dad, first of all. I was raised in a small business, and Dad was always teaching me. You see that guy over there having coffee? I wouldn't hire him. Why, Dad? Look at the way he's preparing his coffee. He's putting a little sugar in, tasting it more. He's not decisive. See that guy over there? I'd hire him in a second. How come? Look at the way he walks. He's going somewhere. I learned how to hire people when I had my own business. When I was teaching, I saw an extraordinary human being. His name was Ron Guglielmetti. Maybe some of you know him. He was the best friends of Mr. Haramus, Peter Haramus. Extraordinary human being. He came to our district as a substitute teacher. The kids would follow him around at recess time. They wanted to be in his classroom. They enjoyed learning from him. Teach me, teach me. He had charisma. Extraordinary person. They hired him at my recommendation permanently. Hanging around the Senior Citizen Center for the last umpteen years, I'm now a senior citizen by far. I came across another extraordinary human being, Kathy Schmidt. She teaches exercise here. Fantastic lady. If you had the courage to visit her, I challenge you, visit her during one of her sessions and watch how she interacts with her students. Watch how they follow around. Watch the love between them and among them that she fosters, that she causes. Hire her. You'd be doing yourselves a favor. Hire her full time. Find a position for her. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Thank you for being here. Any other?
Ryan Mersney.
Mr. Mersney.
Ryan Mersney, Keynes Avenue. For several years, I have asked various elected and appointed city officials if we could get Congress through Jackie Spear to transfer the Navy base at the crossing to San Bruno. This would satisfy the complaints about the current hotel property at the crossing, as it is larger and has easier access. I felt I was unable to do it myself, as I have no standing. A certain elected city official has repeatedly claimed to me he had documentation from the U.S. government turning down this proposal. He stated I was not allowed to see this documentation. It was always vague and verbal, and I have no proof this was said to me. On February 26th, the same elected official once again made this claim. He was in possession of a document from an unknown source that the U.S. government refused to consider such a proposal. The difference this time is he made the claim in front of two other elected city officials and another San Bruno resident. A few days later, in a chance encounter, I asked him again verbally to see this documentation. He again refused. On March 29th, I submitted a public records request for correspondence between any and all city officials and Congresswoman Jackie Spear or any of her representatives from January 2016 to the present regarding the Navy base at the crossing. I wish to thank Mr. Zaffarano and Ms. Huerta for their response. Their response was as follows. As such, after a thorough search, the city did not locate any responsive documents pertaining to the Navy base from January 2016 to the present. Again, thank you, Mr. Zaffarano and Ms. Huerta, for your time. After forwarding Mr. Zaffarano's reply to the elected city official, he further refuses to let me see such correspondence because of some sort of security issues. The difference this time is this elected official made these claims in text. My questions are as follows. 1. What possible security issues could be raised by the city official's correspondence to Representative Spear and or her office? Why was the city attorney's office unable to locate such documentation if it exists? 2. Why would Representative Spear's office reply with sensitive or secret information that would compromise national security? If that were the case, why wouldn't the city attorney simply respond to my public records request by saying, There is such documentation, but for national security reasons, I'm not allowed to access such documents. 3, why would anyone in the Pentagon respond to a city official with sensitive or secret information that would compromise national security? 4, when can I expect this documentation to be released to me? Thank you.
Thank you. Any other speaker cards? Is there anybody else here in the audience that would like to speak on an item that's not on the agenda? Mr. O'Brien.
Good evening, Mayor, council members. I'm just here to talk about a couple things. The tax increase, the sales tax increase, I'm not in favor of it. I believe the city needs to come up with other ways of generating revenue. Instead of passing it on to the residents and everybody else, I think that's not the way. That's the easy way of doing it. So that's one of my thoughts on that. I know there's other ways. Just got to be creative. Come together, take some input from the residents, and I know you guys are well versed on stuff like this, and I'm sure Jovan Grogan can come up with some things. They're very smart people in the community as well. So, and also, you know, we're seeing increases come from everywhere. Ecology, every year. Just, you know, it's getting out of hand, I believe, and I'm speaking of other people's views and opinions and thoughts on this. So I just really think we need to think about other things, restructuring within the city, finding other creative ways to generate revenue. I know we're in a deficit, and so I think each department needs to be looked at thoroughly and addressed, and see what they can do to improve work production, be more effective, be more productive. That's all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you, Tim. Anybody else that want to speak on an item that's not on the agenda?